So just, you have the Big Ten title wrapped up. You have the probably number one seed wrapped up. What's your approach to the Big Ten tournament here?
Just stay process-based, obviously watch the game with Minnesota and Michigan State. A little different because we only played both of them once and played them both at home, which is obviously an advantage for us. Just get prepared for both teams, and obviously whoever wins that game, and then just go and practice about a half an hour after that, and just start to get locked into our next opponent.
Are Braden and Zach okay?
Mm-hmm. They're fine.
The Big Ten awards came out, and last year, when you win the league by 3 games, I think to only have one guy on the first team, maybe it felt kind of slighted today. A lot of guys got recognition, and
right.
How big of a deal is that for guys like Mason, for Braden to kind of get that recognition finally?
Yeah,
so.
It's great for those guys. And, and last year when you look at it, like, your goal was to win the Big Ten, and we were able to do that at that time. So, like, a little different this year when you're picked to win it. Just kind of how the season unfolds and everybody gearing up to play and things of that nature. But no, happy for those guys. Happy for Braden and Lance and Fletch and Mason and obviously Zach, being the player of the year and being on the defensive team, and Mace being the 6th man, and those other guys being honorable mention to go along with Braden and Zach. But, when your team has success, you're normally going to get some individual awards, obviously.
Coach of the Year award seems to a lot of times go to a team that wasn't picked to finish very high, and
right.
It does. When you're picked to finish first, and you do, I think there's a hard process in that as well, right?
Yeah, no question. I think the great perspective of it is, since Tom Izzo's been at Michigan State, he's won the league 10 times. He's been to the Final Four 8 times. And I think he's got the Coach of the Year award 3 times. That doesn't add up, right? I mean, going to a Final Four is very impressive, very tough to do. And obviously they vote before that, but he wins the league 10 times and he gets the award 3. So, you just have to keep it in perspective. And, what everybody wants is what we have. And that's a Big Ten championship, especially a back-to-back Big Ten championship. So, that's the ultimate goal for all coaches and players. So I know we're excited about accomplishing that. And then if other things come, great. If they don't, then, that wasn't our goal anyways, even though it is pretty cool, especially for your players.
How much of, or I guess, what was your approach this season to cultivating confidence in this team? It seems like as confident a team as you've ever had.
Yeah, well, you have to have, good players to start with. You got to have that. And sometimes you got to go through a little bit of adversity. But I think more than anything, it's just our skill level was much better than we showed last year. And we made some adjustments in personnel. But, our ability to shoot the basketball, in the time they put in, it's not, I think a lot of people want to see a coach give somebody confidence, and really players give coaches confidence. But the work that all those guys have put in to really help our team be a more skilled team, I think is one of the biggest differences.
You guys won the Big Ten tournament last year, but just how much more experience you guys have, especially Fletch and Braden. Does that make these quick turnarounds a little easier for them?
I think so. I just, it depends on, who you're playing. It depends. There's a lot of variables, right? If you're shooting the ball well, who's officiating, where you're playing, who you're playing against, all those things come into play throughout a season. But yeah, you hope the experiences that we've had in those elite exempt tournaments, last year's Big Ten tournament will definitely help us, this year. But you never know, man. It's tough. It's a tough deal. You're going to face a quality team in every single game you play if you can get past your first game.
You've said before that you've won these tournaments, that it's helped in March. You've lost the tournaments out. There's
Correct.
no rhyme or reason to it.
Right.
Is it just about focusing on the game ahead of you then that you take out of anything?
Yeah, don't worry about things you can't control. Just worry about your next opponent. When we find out who that's going to be, we'll lock into that and we'll just keep going forward.
You've closed these last couple of games really sharp in those last 5 minutes. Mm-hmm. Is that a reflection of the better conditioning, the better mental conditioning versus this time a year ago?
Yeah, and making shots. Yeah.
But that would be a product of it.
Yeah, well, no question. And I think when you look at your ability to close out a game and make shots, and guys do things better when the ball's going in versus when they don't. Mm-hmm. I think their mind's not as occupied. You keep that purpose on the defensive end. There's so many times that if you allow those things, you're just compounding your mistakes. You miss a three at one end, you foul at the other end. You miss a free throw, you go down to the other end and blow an assignment. Now you just had 4 plays in a row where 2 of them you tried to do the right thing, you just missed a shot, but don't let it bother you to where you take it to the other end. I think a lot of that happens. So if you're making more shots and you're doing those things and you keep putting that burden on the other team as you're growing your lead, I think it only helps you for a lot of reasons.
They only let you start 5 guys obviously, but Mason really is a 6th starter to get 6th man of the year.
Right.
I feel like he's a closer more than maybe a starter, right?
Yeah, no question. Andy plays more minutes, but he also helps himself because he's a better free throw shooter. And then late in the game, trying to score the basketball and stretch it. And, I think it's really worked for us. I think it's, you got the ability to bring somebody like that off the bench. It's instant offense. It's very experienced. And obviously he's had a big impact on our team.
How was the growth in the backcourt and them just getting older and the game slowing down for them? How has that helped as you look at the back end of this regular season?
Yeah, I think more than anything that they're both, they're more confident. Fletch kind of picking his spots, but he's also making more shots. He's been more consistent shooting the basketball. Braden's been very consistent. We put a lot on Braden. He dominates the basketball for us, but he's such a good decision maker. They both have improved defensively. Braden's really done some good things here of late from a defensive standpoint, and that's what you need. If you're going to have a championship caliber team, you got to have 2-way players.
Canton's obviously played in Target Center before. It's just got to be kind of a cool experience. He was redshirting when he went to Minneapolis last year. For him to go there and be in a building he's familiar with, which a lot of these opportunities, guys haven't been in that building before.
Right. Yeah, it's cool. Like be able to go back there and where they had success as junior year in high school and play in front of his friends and family. It's what it's about when you recruit guys and they can stay in the footprint of the Big Ten and they can go back home and be able to play in those games. So I know he's going to look forward to playing in the barn next year, and he's looking forward to playing the Big Ten tournament this year.
How important has been his multi-positional defensive value, and did you see that in him as a player when he was redshirting last year?
He was growing in that area. You see the speed. He's very fast and he's athletic. He can go up and get the basketball, but he's just continued to work. He's continued to get better. When he gets out there, he stays within himself. And I think that's so important when you're playing a role. Just kind of be that 3-and-D type guy. Rebound, defend, take your shots when they come. Keep things simple, get the ball inside. And now as your career goes on, hopefully you put yourself in a position where you have more of an opportunity to where you can do more things and do other things too.
Fletcher said he doesn't think this team has peaked yet, but this time last year it was on the slow decline going into the Big Ten tournament. What are your thoughts about that difference between this year and last year?
Yeah, we lost some games obviously in February. I know I keep saying the same thing, but our shot making ability is better. People can't scheme against us quite the way they could last year and just leave people open. So I think our skill level is better, our balance is better, and guys are just more confident. And we know when you see that basketball going in, but we really could have separated the other night in the Wisconsin game, but we turned the ball over too much. And so you kind of see that linger a little bit. No, there's not a team in America where that doesn't linger with them to some capacity. And we've really had a lot of success with that this year, but when you go and dissect our losses, you'll see that number gets too high. And I think more importantly than that, we've done a better job of just not having as many flare-ups, turning the basketball over, and we shoot the ball better.